In a courtroom, Cameron James, who's 30 years old, had told the judge and a packed courtroom his girlfriend, Demi Leigh Mabbitt, was the love of his life. His words were nothing more than a remark meant to tug on the heartstrings of the judge and also Demi's parents and family, because Cameron crashed an Audi S3 doing 120 miles per hour on a quiet residential street and left his girlfriend to die, and tragically she did, but it gets so much worse. Cameron James had only been out of jail for 30 days when on April 5th, 2024, Cameron was driving a white Audi S3. He had no insurance, had been disqualified from driving, and he failed to stop after a catastrophic accident or report the incident. Just before 11:45 p.m, witnesses saw Cameron driving like a madman as he accelerated harshly away from Trago Mills at 70 miles per hour. He then travelled along Swansea Road in Merthyr. The witness commented to their passenger that Cameron was going to kill himself. The road was wet and still the Audi began to disappear into the distance, reaching reported speeds of between 110 to 120 miles per hour. The witness drove along Swansea Road also and saw the aftermath of Cameron crashing the Audi. The car resembled a crushed tin can, positioned 90 degrees across the carriageway. Car parts were also dotted across the road, having travelled at least 20 metres. Cameron's girlfriend Demi, who had been in the passenger seat, had been thrown from the car 27 metres as well. Cameron climbed out of the rear driver's side door and then actually had the gall to ask the witness for a lift. The witness refused and left the scene, not spotting Demi outside the car in a bad way, unconscious. Now Cameron rummaged around the crumpled car and found Demi's phone, then dialed 999 and told the operator, "My missus has just crashed her car." By this time, neighbours had heard the loud crash and tyres screeching, and then they began to come out of their houses in droves. Neighbours had spotted Demi on the roadside. Now homeowners and renters also called 999 again, while others tried to give Demi first aid and begin CPR. Cameron, witnessing the act, began to become erratic, obviously scared and panicked. He turned the torch on his phone and tried to gather all the belongings from the Audi S3 that could incriminate him and get out of there. When Cameron was questioned as to what he was doing, he began shouting, "I need to find the guy who was driving." Now callously and unbelievably, Cameron then ran away from the scene. Again, remember, Cameron was driving a car and he had reached speeds of a minimum 110 miles per hour while travelling in a 20 mile per hour zone at the time of the collision. The result was the engine block from the Audi had been detached, the steering rack was sheared off, the front wheel was also torn off, and parts of the Audi was discovered on the roof of a bungalow nearby. When emergency services arrived on the scene, Demi was quickly rushed to the University of Wales Hospital in Cardiff. Sadly, the 25-year-old suffered catastrophic brain injuries. Emergency surgery was required to relieve the pressure, but sadly, Demi was pronounced dead on April 12th after she had deteriorated. Now please quickly turn your attention to Cameron Jones, knocked on the doors of all his known addresses, but he was avoiding police and could not be located. Cameron handed himself into the police a few weeks later, on April 28th. Now Cameron, who has 27 previous convictions for 55 offences, including drug dealing and driving offences, pled guilty to causing death by dangerous driving. He was described as inhumane, and it was commented that Cameron only pled guilty to get a reduced sentence, and he was jailed for 10 years. Condolences. Stay safe.